weekly show where we break into your house and touch all your stuff. I am your host, Raja, and sadly, our co-host, Safriel, could not be with us today. So it's just going to be me doing this B&E. Today we find ourselves in a distant land in the Mist. We find ourselves in Mist. We are going to be introducing a new scoring system from here on out because the old scoring system was just too inadequate for some of these super builds. So let's go ahead and break into this. Right off the bat, it's a nice, quaint little yard. Lots of green shrubbery. Even have some green shrubbery chocobos. I like this. This is clean. It's clean. It's simple. Not too shabby. Got a little bit of glitching right here. From them stacking these assets on top of each other. Oh, and over here. I know that they are trying to sit there and make a path, but if they were to push this asset further this way, if they were able to push this asset further this way, we wouldn't have so much glitching. But we would still have a little bit glitching right here because I don't think they're using the full breadth of the asset. I think the asset's a little wider, so there's probably a little bit of overlapping right here where I'm standing. Other than that, this is a very cute little yard. I don't hate it. The house skin fits the neighborhood, which is good. I like houses that fit the neighborhood. And if I am correct, it gives a preview of what our color scheme going into the house should be. So let's go ahead and pop open this front door, shall we? Oh yes. As you can see, we have ourselves a very ultra modern build. We have the whites and the dark blues. Wow. This is nice. Very cut, very clean. What are they using here? Oh, those are actually shelves. And then they have stripper poles that they're using as the legs. That's interesting. Over here we have more stripper poles combined with placemats to make a table. Okay. They got a couch, and then I don't know what they used to frame this with. Is that just the top of a partition? And then the backrest? I'm not entirely sure. It's some kind of cupboard. It might be the Huygens cupboard. Or some other kind of cupboard. But yeah, I mean, they just use partitions and cupboards to frame the couch. Picture frames on things, on the wooden planks that they made the table out of. They didn't put anything into frames. Normally, people use these in builds and leave them blank to represent mirrors, because we have no mirrors in the game. But here they are obviously using them for like actual pictures, but there's no pictures in there, and that's a little weird. Now this is interesting. They have a stool as a base with a stripper pole. Then I'm not exactly sure what vase this is. But then they have a table lantern, and they turned it into a really nice floor lamp. That is very well done. Love the windows. Love the way they got the lighting set up in here. It makes it look like the sun is just starting to crest through the windows. So that's a very nice touch. Rectangular partitions to frame it. Modern cupboard space, which is actually two, as you can see, there are two bookshelves put end to end. They just obviously ran out of asset location space to finish the frame. So I mean, nobody's meant to come this far over and look. I mean, you're supposed to be here, and you know, as long as you stay within the parameters, the illusion isn't broken. But oh, did I? Yep, I see glitching up there. And their assets are not aligned at all. They wanted a marble ceiling. And I'm pretty sure I know how they did this marble ceiling. Oh my god. Okay, so they got the wood flooring with rectangular partitions flanking it to make a thing, and then they got illuminated lofts sticking through for the lights. Oh, we got more glitching up there. More rectangular partitions with light. Now the lighting aspect of this build is just absolutely amazing. Standard TV. This counter, I am not 100% sure how they built it. I'm pretty sure it's the marbled bed partition thingy. Two of them, it looks like. And then they got something coming through the front of it. I'm not entirely sure what that is. As far as the lines to represent the lines, I guess, I'm not entirely sure. At first, I thought they might be Eorzea maps. That's another common trick in the community, but they're not. But you can also sit there and see that their alignment is not right. The line on the left is sticking up way higher than the line on, or the one on the left is sticking up higher than the one on the right. And that's sad. That's unfortunate here. I love how they got the easel set in here to give you a picture that's not completely flush against the wall. It adds an extra dimension to it. Starting to see more and more of these frame jobs around the chandelier, which is nice. Getting some pretty interesting angles up in there. The door is not doing it for me. for what the rest of the house is, this looks kind of bleh. This is a very boring entryway. It's very basic. I mean, the thing with the table, just very, very basic. And this is a medium house, guys. This is a medium house. It has an upstairs and a downstairs, and this is it. This is all the property that they used. So we come over here into the basement, and we have they love their rectangular partitions, and then they have the wood slat partitions to make this little fine feature. I actually applaud them for using this lamp. I don't see people actually use this lamp for this purpose, for an actual lamp. Now, I've seen it used as handles and other knickknackery, but I've never seen it used as a lamp until today. But yeah, I mean, this is just a very it's super clean. There's glitching in the ceilings, which, if I'm correct, and we're going to find out if I'm correct, I know why, but that's another stripper pole. So they got another stripper pole coming down from the ceiling with another lantern attached to it to sit there and give the effect of a hanging light. This is nice. See, this is a super custom job, which I applaud. But this is also why we in the community are begging for more assets. The reason why this house is so small on the inside is because they've used so many so many asset locations to build the actual frame of the house. All this detail consumes. I mean, the thing above the bed, that's like what, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 rectangular partitions, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6 of the wood slatted partitions. That's like 10 partitions just in that one tiny detail. Then the stripper pole is 2. That's 2 assets right there. These tables, these end tables that they created, that their math is completely not working at all. They overcompensated. They are trying to prevent the glitching effect on the top surface, which I applaud them. But they overcompensated too much, and you actually are able to see the steps of their compensation. But yeah, this table's like 5 assets. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to break in and we're going to sit there and see some of these build scars, because there has to be build scars. So the way we do this is we put on our RP walk, folks, and we walk into walls, because eventually the walls will just let us in. But I'm pretty sure these are some thick... Oh, yeah. Okay, so yep, they got stage walls for the bulk of it. But then they got a lot of... What the hell is that? See, there goes the lofts. Now, why they use the curved? Why they use the curved when they can use the straight? Unless, I don't know why. But you can sit there, yeah, see, look at all these rectangular partitions, and just, okay. So it's that one counter there with the planters above it. But, yeah, I mean, just look at, oh my God, look at all this. All this asset used just for a tiny little effect. You know, this flower, this ivy partition, they have just for like the little tip of it. Here goes the stripper poles for the table, and the little side table. So yeah, we're directly underneath the living room. What did you make this out of? Bookshelves, okay. Bookshelves, planter partitions. God. And the thing is, you know, people doing these super builds, people who do these super builds will use an entire asset for like one tiny little fragment of it, which aesthetically for a picture makes perfect sense. But at the same time, you only got 300 in a medium, folks. Let's go back upstairs and see what we got going on in the upstairs. If I can get through. There we go. No, let me upstairs. Don't tell me no. Oh my god. More math. More math. Ugh. I will applaud them though. They managed to do some pretty good corners without pillars. So, kudos to that. Don't tell me no. Oh, yeah. See, look at all this. Oh, so much build scarring. And this is typical of these super builds. And if I get on the other side, I bet you these are, yep, these are the bed partitions. They used all of these just to make a marbled ceiling. They wanted a marbled ceiling, so they used these marbled bed partitions to make the ceiling out of. Which, as you can sit there and see, this is 8 up asset locations. Just incredible. Incredible waste of space. Utterly incredible waste of space, and I am stuck. I am stuck. This must be the center of the room where the chandelier is. I need to head this way. And now I'm all turned around. Haha, I'm gonna have to sit there and teleport. Okay, so this is going to be a very short video because this is a very small property. Entrance to additional chambers? Is this an FC? Really? This is this is a one-person FC. You'll see a lot of these on the North American servers because it was the only real get-around to get in the house because all the personal properties were taken up way early. So the only way to get an actual property was to create an FC and just do it that way. So sadly, this is the remnant of the housing wars, I guess you'd call them. But man, it is so sad. I mean, look, all of that asset of the ivy wall partition just for this tiny little thing. And then that's not all. I mean, they got other, they got ivy hangers and everything else in here too for the, I think the homeowner came home. Whoops. Oh well. Don't mind me. I'm only going to steal your valuables. No big deal. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be a very short video because this is a very, very, very small property. A huge waste of space. So, the new criterias of the scoring system we have is going to be creativity, build execution, consistency, concept, and use of space. And instead of a 1 through 5 system, it's going to be a 0 through 10. So on creativity, this is definitely a 9. Let me go ahead and add that into my spreadsheet. That's not actually a spreadsheet yet. Because I just haven't had a chance to sit there and get anything set up for this because I've been I've been playing the game, folks. Yeah, I've been playing the game. So I haven't been doing my homework for the show. Sorry. But yeah, creativity is definitely a 9. The way that they figured how to use up some of these assets to make some of these things, it just incredible. I love these super builds. They're just so utterly amazing with their creativity. Build execution. Oh, you know, they got some glitching, but I'm wondering how avoidable it could have been. Especially in the ceiling, because when you're using the bottom of an asset to form a ceiling, you can't make parts of it go away. You have to use all of it. And when you're trying to make a very specific shape, well, you're kind of stuck with it. But other things, like these tables, and I guess it all depends on what these tables are made out of. Because I really can't tell. Build execution, I am going to give them I want to give them a 7 because I don't think that they could help some of the glitching that they have. No, you know what? An 8, yeah. Because I don't think that they could help some of the build execution, though they might have been able to help this. If I can get around where you can see it, where this fucker is sticking out. They definitely could have sat there and helped that. Their corner, if I can get a good look at it for you guys, their corner is not perfectly square. There, or there, or there. So that I know for a fact that that could have been helped. So they really didn't do their math there. Other than that, I don't think they could really help the ceiling too much. The walkway outside probably could have been a little bit better executed. So, yeah, I'm going to give them a 7. A 7 out of 10 for the build execution. For consistency, I'm going to give them a 9. Their color palette follows you from the outside. As you saw, they had lots of white and blue on the outside and greenery, and then they moved into the house where the blue, white, and the plant life followed you all the way through. Everything is absolutely consistent. I mean, it's kind of hard to not be consistent in such a small space, but yeah, I'm going to give them a 9 out of consistency because there's just nothing that sticks out other than, you know, this chair is a little weird, but that's more of a personal touch. That's more of a personal preference than anything. And I mean, it kind of fits with the lantern, which I can see why they picked the lantern, because the lantern ties in with the seating, and the seating is more of something that you would see in, like, jungle areas, like in the Central America, you know, the Amazon, you know, where you want, like, yeah, I mean, it gives a very outdoorsy feel to the. I mean, I guess I don't know. I just don't like it. I personally do not like this seat. I'll put it that way. But this isn't a scoring system built on personal preference. This is a scoring system built on capability. So yeah, consistency. They are definitely getting a 9. Concept is definitely a 9. I love how they just went with this ultra modernism and just hit it out of the ballpark. I mean, there's a couple things that aren't modern, like these uh, shelves that they use to turn into tables. But at the same time, you know, it's like I know the shelves that are available in game, and there's really nothing in the game that they could have used to make a more modern feel. So they were kind of screwed on that aspect there. And you might not notice this, but yeah, these shelves are glitched into the couch. So concept, I'm going to give it another 9. And you're going to notice that I almost never give 10s. Almost never, because my philosophy is there's always room to improve. If you sit there and give something a 10, you're basically sitting there saying that it cannot get any better. You cannot do any better. You might as well give up because you're already perfect. Just stop. So I never want to sit there and say, oh, you're perfect. Stop doing what you're doing. I encourage you to sit there and always look for ways to sit there and improve yourself. So I will always sit there and give a 9. But I will almost never give a 10. It's just not who I am. Tens sit there and say that there's no more room for improvement. And I always believe that there is room for improvements. So I'm going to give them a 9 on their concept here. Now for use of space. This is going to be a very low score. Because although they did do such an amazing job, they put so much fine detail in here that they just lost so much space. They don't even have all of the first floor. They even lost a significant chunk of the first floor. It's such a small space when you got such a huge house. I don't like that. I personally hate sacrificing space for fine detail, which is why, you know, the community is pushing so hard for more asset locations in these housings, because 300 in a property this size is not enough. I used 100 assets, you know, because I got a FC room, which I'm pretty sure my FC room is what won me the competition of my FC housing contest, and not my house. But I mean, I used up all 100 assets, and it still feels just a little bit barren. I wish I could put a couple more pictures up on the wall. I wish I could put a couple more fine details on counter spaces, but I couldn't, because even though I'm a minimalist, I ran out. You just run out. You'd be surprised how fast 300 goes in a house of this size, when I am looking at least, what, 50 assets in the ceiling alone. Just the ceiling. Just to build the ceiling, they had to use 50 at least, if not more. This is ridiculous. But God, I mean, they're well spent, because look at the backlighting behind the TV. Come on. That is absolutely amazing. That is such an amazing detail, and I wish I understood how they did it, and I honestly, it'd be hard for me to figure that out. Let's see if I can figure it out. me in. Don't tell me no. I do not like being told no. I know the TV is made out of fireplaces. This is one of the oldest tricks in the community. Okay, okay. So they have that string of lights, positioned in such a way. I mean, that takes creativity, folks. That is just absolutely creative, but it's also incredibly asset intensive. So sadly, such an amazing property, such an amazing property, I am going to give it a 3 out of 10 for use of space because out of this entire medium, they only get to one floor and they don't even get all of it. They had to sacrifice some of the floor itself just for the build. So it's going to get a 3 out of 10. And now I have to do math because, you know, I don't have math here. Let me do this math real quick. So please bear with the silence. Okay, so this house scores a 3.7 out of 5. As you can sit there and see, the use of space really dragged down the score of an otherwise absolutely amazing house. Which is sad. I hate to see these super builds get dragged down by something like that. But it's going to be a reoccurring theme. And that's why I wanted to change up the matrix because, I mean, when you're getting into all these super builds, I mean, you're going to have a lot of top scores. You know, they're going to have a perfect score on consistency. You're going to have a perfect score on consistency and concept. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be a super build without those. But, you know, build execution is still critically important, and use of space. And at some point, you have to sit there and say, man, do I have too much detail? And in my personal opinion, being claustrophobic and all, yes, you have too much attention to detail, and you just sacrifice too much of the house. Sad, sad, sad. So yes, a 3.7 out of 5. As far as best and worst, the part of the house that I like best, that's a toss-up. I love the backlighting. That is actually a really neat trick, and I look forward to stealing that in some of my projects in the future. Part of the joy of going on these housing tours is gaining ideas from other people and stealing them for your own projects. So I am definitely looking forward to stealing this backlighting idea for some of these projects that I work on. As far as the worst, I would have to say it's a toss-up between these wood planks used for the tables and the shelving units and that stupid chair. But the stupid chair is something that's personal. So the wood planks just don't fit. And something that's so ultra modern looking as the rest of the house, to have these rough, chewed up, weathered, beaten down, termite infested, country living shelving units, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. I know why they use it. It's the best of a poor situation. None of the other shelves in the game work. There's nothing else that they could use to make shelves out of. So they had to use the best out out of the situation. So that is commendable, but it's still something that I like the least about this build. So anyways, I hope this video wasn't too boring. With practice, we'll get the new scoring system more refined. I'd like to thank Melian and Renzo for letting me steal their scoring, bits and pieces of their scoring system. And as always, like and subscribe if you have a house that you would like to see showcased on the show. Please reach out to us on Discord or in game if you know how to get a hold of us, because you know secrecy is utmost important to us, because you know we are breaking and entering. It's a crime. We don't need the weeboo police sitting there coming down on us. Stay away from us, creepy weeboo police. But as always, look forward to seeing you guys next week when we sit there and showcase another property.